What's up, everybody? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. Welcome back to more WWE versus TEW, the weekly series where we take the events and shows of the WWE books, run them in the game to see just how well WWE does against TEW, or Total Extreme Wrestling will be the company that brings the WWE down to its knees. Today, we're booking everybody's favorite show, as always. 205 Live, the August 14th edition of the show, whatever. I'm a little tired, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I just got off of work. I work a graveyard shift, so I'm a little tired recording this video. I'm also very hungry, so I apologize if my commentary is not up to its normal quality. But it is just 205 Live, and despite the joke that I say it is everybody's favorite show, is probably my least watched video or videos on my channel. Even Sunday Night Heat and the Invasion series gets more views than 205 Live, but Sunday Night Heat actually tends to get more views than the WWE versus TEW series in general. So, alright, with that being said, let us just go ahead, jump right into this. Let's just stop wasting time so I can go ahead, get some food, maybe smoke a bit, watch a bit of SummerSlam before we finally pass ourselves out. 33 E+ rating as we get our cold open for 205 Live. I'm going to start making Drake Maverick off screen here because, well, he's really not on screen, so I go back and forth with my booking on some of these things, or these angles in this series. Nonetheless, Drake Maverick hypes up that tonight Akira Tozawa will face Lio Rush, and Cedric Alexander will take on Gentleman Jack Gallagher just days before his championship defense against Drew Gulak at SummerSlam. Of course, Gulak and Kendrick hyped here as well because they are barred from ringside for the main event. We then move on, if we press the button, to a... Maybe it pressed the button and I didn't realize it, but there's supposed to be a segment in between these two where it hyped up Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak. Maybe I didn't realize it because there was no picture change or anything. Like I said, I'm a bit tired here. But there was supposed to be something there. It most likely just got an E rating as well. So, E+ rating as Lio Rush makes his way down to the ring for his match against Akira Tozawa. And while he's on his way down to the ring, he grabs the mic and talks about how Akira Tozawa's lucky that he has to do this match, and so on and so forth, just talking about how everyone's lucky to pretty much even get to see the 23-year-old piece of gold, or what was the other one he said, Leo 5 Live. Lio Rush is great. I'm a big fan of Lio Rush. Quickly, he's made me a big fan of his. I like his in-ring work. I like his character. I like the way he holds himself around. He sells his character perfectly. Lio Rush is doing it. He's doing it for me. I've said it in a previous video, I believe, and if I didn't, my apologies. But I think Cedric Alexander should retain the championship against Drew Gulak because I think Lio Rush is the man that should beat Cedric Alexander. Maybe too soon for him, but I think Lio Rush should be the guy they build up to face Cedric and beat him. 40 D- rating here as we have about that add subpar wrestling and little heat to it. Lio Rush going over Akira Tozawa in 10 minutes, 17 seconds with the rush hour. Akira Tozawa really off his game here tonight, which is unfortunate. But he still performed better than Lio Rush with a 40 to Lio Rush's 35. Rush getting up there, though, his popularity has a lot to do with it. In fact, I think he's performing above his popularity at the time. I think he's like a 22 pop. Not entirely sure off the top of my head, but I do believe he's performing above his popularity. Nonetheless, Lio Rush gets the second victory over Akira Tozawa here, pinning him and most likely ending the feud. I mean, there was no cheating, no nothing. Beat him fair and square. 1, 2, 3. Rush moves on in the feud. Gaining heat for it as well, but most likely ended, to be honest. I'd be surprised if they keep this one going. 40 D- as we get a little bit of a pre-set package promo here from Drew Gulak, as it shows him just kind of getting ready for the Cruiserweight Championship match while he talks about how confident he is that he's going to beat Cedric Alexander at SummerSlam. 39 D- as we see Jack Gallagher warming up backstage, of course, with the assistance of Drew Gulak and the Brian Kendrick. 39 D- as we get a look back at the Hideo Itami versus Mustafa Ali last week, And honestly, probably what's my favorite story on 205 Live right now, with the whole Mustafa Ali pushing himself too far to the point where he's kind of become a little injury prone here, and someone like Hideo Itami took full advantage of that, as we saw in their match last week. We then go to a 40 D- as Kayla Braxton, to my surprise. Wasn't expecting her. It's usually Dasha. It took me a second. I was like, who are you? Until they said her name. But Kayla Braxton interviews Drake Maverick about Mustafa Ali, and Maverick takes full blame for what happened to Mustafa and goes on to say that Mustafa Ali will not compete in 205 Live until Drake Maverick feels that he is ready to, pretty much. 40 D- as Hideo Itami backstage brags about how he stopped the heart of 205 Live. Quick little brief segment there, but good. It was a good. What am I looking for? Because I'm not saying that Hideo Itami made this segment. It's really what he said that made this segment. It's the words that he spoke that made me go, yeah, I like that. The fact that he was like, I stopped the heart of 205 Live. That's clever. I like that. I think it's clever. But yeah, that's pretty much where I was just going with that. 40 D- rating here, as Hideo Itami has a jobber match against Trent Newman. And a terrible matchup here. Hideo Itami goes over Trent Newman in 3 minutes 2 seconds after he KO'd Trent Newman after hitting him with the turnbuckle drop kicks a couple of times. Newman was unable to compete. Interesting fact about this young man, Trent Newman. We saw him in the SmackDown video. This guy, Trent Newman, believe it or not, is Tracer X, the same guy, part of Triple X. But that really is Tracer X. Like, I'm not joking when I say Trent Newman is Tracer X. At first, I hired a young man named Crotch. Yeah, believe me, Crotch, to play the guy Trent Newman. But it wasn't until that I noticed Trent Newman's. Well, not even before then. When they spelled out Trent Newman's name, I spelled it wrong. I spelled it Neumen, not New. I thought, oh, this is how you spell Newman. That's how I figured they were going to spell it. But they spelled it differently, so I went to go change it. And when I changed it, I saw Tracer X, and I was like, you know, this guy Tracer X actually looks a lot more like this guy Trent Newman. So I went ahead and I was like, well, let's just use Tracer X. Why the hell not? So we used Tracer X instead. And as I'm watching the match against Hideo Itami, I noticed Tracer X / Trent Newman's tights, and they say Tracer X on them. So this was the real Tracer X. Would you look at that? Also, we had a couple of things after SmackDown, or Raw went off the air, I should say. Kevin Owens says that Mojo Rawley is charismatic. And Dolph Ziggler says Titus O'Neil cannot sell. We also have to fix up Akam's gimmick, so I am going to go ahead and leave that there. Hideo Itami with an in-ring performance of a 51. Trent Newman, a.k.a. Tracer X, with an 18. He did make the most of his appearance, though, improving in Rumble and performance skills. Good for him. 36 D- is afterwards. Itami attacks Newman's post-match and just demands respect from the crowd. Newman getting better at his gimmick. Okay. 35 E+ rating, as we see Cedric Alexander getting the same little bit of a pre-packaged promo that Gulak got earlier. He's just talking about how he's aware of how dangerous Drew Gulak can be, but he's ready. He's ready. He's aware that Gulak is the submission expert. He's aware that Kendrick and Gallagher can be around at any moment, but Alexander is ready, and that the age of Alexander will move on after SummerSlam. Interesting note here, though, Gulak's promo did better than Alexander's. I'm not sure if that's a popularity thing or an actual entertainment thing. I just thought that was something interesting to bring up here. 46 solid D rating. I'm going to say it's an entertainment thing because it gets a lot better with just being rated on overness here. As we see Cedric Alexander getting ready for the main event match against Jack Gallagher. Gentleman Jack Gallagher, I should say. Before we get to that, though, 39 D- as Drake Maverick, DMGM, calls in the team of Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese in his office as he lets them know that they will be taking on the Lucha House Party next week in a Tornado Tag Team match, since despite Nese's victory, it was a little bit of a tainted victory with a little bit of help from Buddy Murphy. So we'll see a Tornado Tag Team match next week between the two teams. Most likely Kalisto and Lince Dorado as well, which we all see how that always does. 29 solid E rating, as we also hype up that next week Noam Dar will battle TJP in the rubber match. Probably the final match in their feud as well. 37 D- as we hype up Cedric Alexander defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Drew Gulak on the SummerSlam kickoff show. And finally, oh, not finally, I thought this was the main event. 31E plus, this is one of those weird angles that is happening during the match itself. So I was kind of right when it was main event time, but forgot about this. So this is happening while Gallagher and Alexander are going at it. Oh, apparently my phone was still on sound. My apologies for that. Nonetheless, Gulak and Kendrick pretty much watching on. And now it is main event time. Main event gets a 40 D- rating here, and about that didn't have much weight in heat and terrible wrestling. Good God. Cedric Alexander goes over Gentleman Jack Gallagher in 18 minutes, 28 seconds with the lumbar check. And it actually wasn't ended with the lumbar check. I forget what Cedric beat him with, but it was kind of a out-of-nowhere maneuver where it was just like, it happened, Cedric won, and I love it when that happens, by the way. I hate when a match always has to end by a finisher. Like, it's the finisher, and that makes sense. And of course, you're going to want to hit your finisher. But sometimes, you know, I see something that like a tag team or a wrestler will do, and I'll be like, oh, that has to be the end. And then they kick out of it. And I'm just like, what the hell? Why wasn't that the end? And then you see the actual end, and you're like, what you did earlier would have been a way better ending than this. Like, come on. But whatever. I'm going to have to edit up both Gallagher and Alexander's stamina, by the way, because it's saying after 18 minutes that they were both visibly tired towards the end, and that's just not true. But anyway, and about that didn't have much weight in heat and terrible wrestling, Alexander does go over Gallagher. I've already read all that. So both superstars apparently very tired towards the end. I'm going to have to change it up myself. Probably before SummerSlam, too, because I imagine Alexander and Gulak may get some time. Gallagher was really off his game as well. That's unfortunate. He cooled the crowd. Alexander with an in-ring performance of a 39. Gentleman Jack Gallagher with a 35. And then afterwards, wow, why did this do so good? Huh, I guess maybe all three of these guys are good at selling? I don't know. 53 D- as Brian Kendrick tries to come out and attack Alexander, but Alexander not only fends off Kendrick, but also fends off Gentleman Jack Gallagher, but not able to fend off Drew Gulak, who sneaks in during the 2-on-1 fight and locks in the Gulak on a surprise Cedric Alexander, making him pretty much pass out in the process as he stands tall heading into their match at SummerSlam. Gain some heat for the feud as we end off the show. Getting some heat to the feed. 43 solid D rating for the show itself. No John Cena, so I always find it interesting when we don't put John Cena on here just to see how well the shows do, to see if they get that higher up rating. I really feel Cena actually helps out these shows a lot more than I think. But nonetheless, 43 solid D for the show itself. Oh, JXT. You guys might not know who JXT is, but in one of my personal playthroughs, I have a Billy Corgan company that I run still. It's called Smashing Wrestling Alliance, I believe, or Association, one of the two. And I have an alliance as well, so I think that one's Association, alliance as well, the alliance. But anyway, JXT was a guy I tried to get over there, but really didn't do me much good, and I ended up letting him go. And a little while later, Lucha Underground, which is like my main rival at the moment, they ended up picking him up, which I was happy about. Nonetheless, though, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, my name's been OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. And I will see you guys for SummerSlam. So until then, have a great day.